Look at what Araghchi said. He said, embarking on timely tour of Pakistan, Oman, and Russia. Purpose of my visits is to closely coordinate with our partners on bilateral matters and consult on regional developments. So after he said that, he went to Pakistan. He's there right now. So I want to talk about this real quick. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan just said it confirmed that he arrived and stuff. But I just wanted to talk about this. He is there not to talk with the US directly. They sent him and maybe a few other people with him. He's there so that he can talk to Pakistan about the developments in the Strait of Hormuz. And then the most important thing is to try and get the talks with the US restarted. And why I'm saying that is because unless they give the US some sort of deal where they're like, okay, this is our unified proposal, you can actually trust us in coming to talk with us, the US isn't going to come to Islamabad to have another round of talks. So that's going to be the hard part for them. But it is suggesting to me and solidifying the theory that Hidi or someone has taken central control, amplified by the fact that Ghalibaf has resigned. So someone is probably having the upper hand at calling the shots right now, and Arashi looks like he has a new boss. So
Who's the new boss?
the new boss is probably Vahidi at gunpoint.
Vahidi?
Yeah, I don't think he's being paid. I think he's being coerced, kind of situation. But yeah, so given today's Friday and we keep seeing this pattern like over and over again, I guess they're going to have these talks and then maybe, I don't know, Sunday, Monday or something. If this comes to fruition, we can see Witkoff and Kushner go back to Islamabad potentially. But yeah, this is what happened just a few hours ago.
The new boss might be Jalili. Here, let me show you this. Let me see. Here. Look at this. So we have this news from Iran International. It says Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, head of Iran's negotiating team with the United States, has stepped down amid internal disagreements, Iran International has learned. According to information obtained by Iran International, Ghalibaf was reprimanded for attempting to include the nuclear issue in talks with Washington and was forced to resign. Hardline figure Saeed Jalili could replace him, while Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is also seeking to take over the negotiations. Guys, Saeed Jalili it's really harder to find a more Durka jihadi minded person. If you think like Ghalibaf is Islamic jihadi minded, Saeed Jalili is like 1,000 times more. 1,000 times more Durka jihadi minded. So if we go, and he was actually before, he used to be in charge of the nuclear talks before as well. Here, look at this is Saeed Jalili here in our bingo card. Saeed Jalili. You can see former. He was the head of the Supreme Security Council at some point as well, and he used to be the leader of the talks with regards to the nuclear talks with the Americans and other countries when they were negotiating the JCPOA and stuff. Like at different times, there were different people in charge, and he was once in. But he is from the Paydari camp, and as you guys know, the Paydari camp are extremely crazy, like radical and Islamic minded. And the new orders seem to have been no talk, no nuclear negotiation. If you want to talk to the Americans, you could talk about many different things, but there is not even a little bit flexibility over the enriched uranium and nuclear, which to me suggests that that means that there's no, like, what are you going to talk about? Isn't that's the main thing that the Americans want? What are the chances? What's even Araghchi has been quoted because that's the order of forget about talking about nuclear apparently came from Mujtaba Khamenei. And again, Mujtaba Khamenei, I don't think it's whoever is, I don't know who's putting words in his mouth, but it's not really him that is giving orders. I think it's the circle, it's the Beit Rahbari, it's the office of the supreme leadership and the people who are. But that means that they're relevant again. They're relevant again, and they are now. And Ghalibaf has been criticized and pushed aside. Maybe they're denying that's happening. Ghalibaf and others are denying that, they're calling this fake news. But we'll see if we see more of Jalili, it suggests that all of this is correct. But what do you think, Ali, regarding this new development of Ghalibaf being pushed aside and maybe Jalili replacing him?
I think that makes a lot of sense. I thought for sure that there is someone telling him what to do, someone who doesn't want to show his face yet. But I don't think they're going to talk to the Americans. I think he's going to take his tour around his allied countries and probably just beg for help. And because they can't talk on a nuclear, so there's just no way. There's no way we're going to be interested. America's going to be interested in what he has to say. So let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of help they get.
You guys know Nabavian, right? Nabavian is also part of the Paydari camp. And for people who might be new here, the Paydari camp is the most crazy jihadi group of regime people. They're far more jihadi-minded, more than Khamenei, Ali Khamenei. That's how crazy the Paydari camp is. And Nabavian is another member of the Paydari camp. And he was on the plane as part of the delegation team who went to Pakistan. And now he's on state TV saying that we made a mistake. Let me show you guys. Like, he's saying that we shouldn't have talked about nuclear, and that was the mistake that we made. So let me see. This is just 30 seconds, so we could play that.
ببینید یکی از چیزایی که ما خطای راهبردی تو این مذاکره انجام دادیم.
So he's saying one strategic mistake that we made in these negotiations.
لذا محتواش مورد قبول ما نیست.
And that's why that content is not, we do not approve of that content.
ما نباید موضوع هسته‌ای رو به مذاکره می‌ذاشتیم.
We shouldn't have put the nuclear stuff in the negotiation. Like, we shouldn't even brought it up in the negotiations.
موضوع هسته‌ای رو به مذاکره گذاشتیم، دشمن جری‌تر شد.
So he's saying that because we talked about the nuclear issues, our enemies became more audacious. They became like more, demanding.
لذا از ما مطالبه چی کرد؟ موادتون رو باید خارج بکنید.
So because we brought that on the table, our enemy is now asking for us, is telling us that we need to get rid of the enrichment uranium. We have to take it out of Iran.
مواد 60% رو خارج بکنید.
The 60% enriched uranium.
داخل ایران داریم.
Like, why would we do that? Like, he's saying it's none of your business what we do to our or enriched uranium. And then they asked us to stop enriching uranium for 20 years. And other nonsense that they told us. And obviously we didn't accept any of it. But it was our fault that we allowed this to be even discussed. And so there's another member of parliament. This guy is part of the Security Council within the parliament. He's coming out and saying that we should stop talking to them completely, talking to the Americans completely. Let's listen to this guy.
لذا وقتی میگیم مذاکره نه، یعنی انواع تبادل پیام باید متوقف بشه.
Like, when we say no negotiations, it means that all sorts of communication with them should be stopped.
شبکه اجتماعی از طریق فلان خبرنگار
In whatever, with the news and with social media, we should just stop messaging.
پیغام منتقل میکنیم از طریق فلان نخست وزیر پیغام میدیم.
If we like using a different prime minister, using the news, using social media, we should just stop messaging.
همه اینا متوقف شده.
All of this should stop.
و این تصمیم کلان نظام جمهوری اسلامی.
Oh, he's saying this is actually the decision, the main decision by the Islamic Republic is this, to end all forms of negotiation. So this guy, his name is Khazrian. He is part of the Security Council in the parliament.
در این شرایط و همه ما باید بیستیم با قدرت و اقتدار میدان رو کمک بکنیم.
Like, we all have to stand strong, and with authority and strength, we have to help Maidan. Maidan means the field. That means IRGC. Whenever they say we need to support the field, the battlefield, they're talking about the IRGC. Like, we all should support IRGC.
میدان رو تقویت بکنیم. ما در جایگاه
We should strengthen the battlefield.
اظهار نظرمون، مردم در کف خیابان و میادین شهر.
So he's saying, so
در جایگاه سیاسی و اظهار نظرمون.
And the politicians also need to support the IRGC, and also the people in the streets. Like, he's saying they should keep coming out into the streets every night.
مردم در کف خیابان و میادین شهر.
Yeah, in the streets and in the squares, people could come out.
هر کسی در هر مسئولیتی که هست.
Like everybody from whatever position they are, they should continue supporting IRGC.
تسهیل بودجه کنیم براشون، تسهیل
Oh, تسهیل بودجه. We should need to give them more budget, make it easier for them so that they have the funds that they need.
قوانین بکنیم براشون،
We need to make the laws easier for them so that their hands are untied.
کمک بکنیم نیروهای مسلح ما با کمترین حاشیه ذهنی
And like we need to help our armed forces to be completely focused with no
و
distractions.
فکری بتوانند در این میدان نبردی که قطعی هست به نظر من، چون ما
And like he thinks that the battle, the war is going to come back again. Like he thinks it's 100% certain that we're going to go back to war. So we should just focus on that.
جنگ تموم نشد و در وسط جنگیم، هر آن هم دوره این جنگ سخت رو هم تجربه
Like anytime the war will start again.
خواهیم کرد. لذا در
So that's what they thinks. So you can see the drums of war, and from all sides, everything suggests that we were going back to military operations soon. And the more pragmatic parts of Islamic Republic has now been sidelined and shamed and pushed aside. And now the part that actually wants to go back to war, a part of the Islamic Republic seems to now be having the upper hand. So that's the update.
Okay. Ezekiel, you here?
Is that a 2 or a 1?
A 1.
Oh, okay.
Ezekiel.
Oh, I see him. He opened his camera, but not his mic yet.
Yes, you're muted, Ezekiel.
Click on your mic, and if that doesn't turn it on, then see if your browser has permission. Give your browser permission to your mic. He's typing something.
We've definitely seen him speak before.
Oh, okay. I wrote the question. Can you read it?
Yes, I will. Yeah, give me a sec. I'll find it real quickly.
Thank you, Sapir.
No problem. Give me a sec. Here we go. Okay. Question to Armin. Perhaps US and Israel will not return to high intensity fighting because they believe the next step is for the Iranian people in HRH is waiting for
His
more
Royal Highness.
weapons. Yeah, His Royal Highness is waiting for more weapons to reach people and for more cells of the immortal God to form.
Yeah. Okay. So everything is possible, but all the signs right now suggest that we are headed towards military operations. That's what the sign, everything suggests that is happening. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying the signs suggest that we are going to have that happening soon. In fact, I'm going to show you something. Somebody's mic is open. In fact, I'm going to show you something from Israel, from the Ministry of Defense, that will also confirm that. We see President Trump constantly posting stuff that suggests that he's going back to war. We saw signals from Israel that they're ready to go back to war. We know that even though the blockade is working very well, the influence of the countries in the region, especially the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf, on the United States, is that they want this to be dealt with rather than just waiting for the blockade to work. When it comes to Princess of Pahlavi and the Iranian people, the situation is not at all in their favor for them to rise up right now. The streets are completely filled with pro-regime Iranians, and we have a lot of mercenaries inside Iran. Hashil Shabi from Iraq, Zainabian from Pakistan, and Fatimian from Afghanistan, willing to do a lot of damage to Iranian people. And we don't want to go through what happened in early January. We don't want to see that level of massacre happen again. So the Iranian people have already shown that they paid the price, that what they're able to do. And I think the Iranian people should only do an uprising like that again once we can be sure that they don't pay such a heavy price for it like that as they did. However, you are correct that there could be some asymmetrical guerrilla tactics done by the Garda Javidan or the Immortal Guards, not because we are going to need another uprising at some point for the final push to get rid of the Islamic Republic, but that has to happen after we eliminate the obstacle in the path of the Iranian people, so we don't see a massacre like we saw in early January. However, there is a potential for some Iranian people who are more capable to do like guerrilla warfare against the Islamic Republic on a more, not like an uprising, but in a more asymmetric way. However, the Iranian people don't have access to enough weapons for that to be effective. The Iranian people need to be armed. But there's right now, the way it looks like, we either going to go down two paths, if unless something changes, is that either President Trump is just going to continue with the blockade with no military operation and suffocate the Islamic Republic economically until it cannot pay its armed forces, or we're going to see, as the signals may suggest, that we might see military operations starting soon. There's another factor that causes military operations starting soon, is that the Islamic Republic hates the blockade so much right now, and it's causing so much division, and the ceasefire and the negotiation is causing so much infighting, that they actually prefer fighting over this current situation right now. So the Islamic Republic might start poking at everybody to the point where we go back to war. And we saw, for example, Ghani just recently went to Iraq, and the guess is that he's talking to Hashd al-Shabi in Iraq to start attacking Saudi Arabia and Kuwait to pressure everybody to go back to war. And we saw just recently Hashd al-Shabi attack Kuwait with a few drones, which might be under the influence of Ghani in Iraq. Let me actually show you what. Hold on, let me see if I have the video. Yep, I do. Okay, so Israel cuts. Let me see the video. I could share this with you guys because he just recently posted a video. I think this might be in Hebrew, so I think most people will not understand. Yep, so this is in Hebrew, so I'll just. No, I could. It's in the caption. Yeah. So Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz saying Israel is prepared to renew the war again against Iran. The IDF is prepared for both defense and offense, and the targets are marked. We are waiting for the green light from the US. This part is important. We are waiting for the green light from the US, first and foremost, to complete the elimination of the Khamenei Dynasty. This is major news, by the way, because he's saying that we want to go kill Mujtaba. Right? So we're going to go. This is a confirmation that Israel is waiting for the green light from the United States to go and finish the job with Mujtaba Khamenei. So, to complete the elimination of the Khamenei dynasty and to return Iran to the dark and stone ages by destroying Iran's major energy and power facilities, this time our strikes will be different and more deadly and will deliver further devastating blows to the most painful places, which will shake and collapse the regime's foundation. This is this is big news. This is, by the way, I really like the way he talks. Before when he became the Israeli defense minister, I thought he's going to be very mellow based on his looks and everything. And then every time he speaks, you're like, oh my god, okay, this guy has no chill. So I like him for that. But this shows that Israelis are very eager to go back to war. Like they think that they would have preferred that they continued fighting. So it's very interesting. So for United States, the blockade might have been the best strategy, right? Just continue the blockade until the Islamic Republic is suffocates. Because if you look at the US markets are doing really well. So they're not feeling it economically that much, other than at the gas station. But other than that, they're not feeling it that much. So they could have just gone through this. But the problem is that Israelis want to go to war, the Islamic Republic wants to go back to war, and the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf want to go back to war. So United States went, okay, I guess we could go back to war. If everybody wants to go back to war, we could go back. We're good at it, so might as well. So
I
we'll
can
see.
tell you from the Israeli side that a lot of Israelis are incredibly angry and want to go back to war. We want to finish it, both because
Yeah.
we're tired of all those rounds and fake ceasefire. Because technically, we have a ceasefire with Lebanon, but they've been firing at us every day still.
Yeah.
We want to finish it. People want to finish it. People want to blow hard, and that's it. When you look at social media and you look at IRGC member social media accounts and Israeli politician accounts, it's basically threat after threat. It's gonna be it, we're gonna finish it. It's only a matter of time, and I will add even more that I think, as I said before, today we've seen a whole movement of Patriot batteries to the Gulf countries. I wouldn't be surprised if
Persian
there
Gulf countries.
is another of the Persian Gulf. I wouldn't be surprised if there is another plan for very specific strikes like we saw at the start of this war.
That's really good information, Sapir. Thank you for when you guys give us updates regarding the mood in Israel and the political discussions there. That gives me a lot of more context when I talk in other places. So thank you for that.
No problem. Ali also wanted to respond.
And it's so good that we're putting all this pressure on the regime because Trump has been like, I got all the time. I'm going to step back. You guys keep suffering economically. And if that wasn't enough incentive for you to make a deal, I'm going to kill all of you.